So I guess the first thing that I'd want to ask, anyone who comes through here is just what's your background, your life background besides arm wrestling? So you are how old?
Yeah, I'm 21.
21, and you are from Florida, correct?
From Florida, yeah.
All right,
Born and
so
raised Orlando area.
Give like the 1-minute bio of Chance Shaw.
Yeah, so my hobbies include making rap music videos, Twitch streaming, gaming, lots of gaming. But basically it's just work, arm wrestling, and gaming.
And your job?
Yeah, I work in pest control sales.
How long have you been doing that?
I mean, my dad opened a family business when I was like 4, so I've kind of been around it my whole life. I started part-time when I was like 14, so what is that, 7 years now? Yeah.
And so where did you first hear that arm wrestling was a competitive sport?
Sure, so my dad's like a world champion powerlifter. He's into bench press. So we were going to a fitness expo, Europa Orlando, and we saw it there, and my dad tried it out, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever. So we got in touch with the local team and started training it, and I just fell in love with the sport.
So I think a lot of people wonder, like, they hear about you, if they know anything about you, that you don't train a whole lot of traditional strength stuff, and you don't train even a whole lot of arm wrestling specific. It's all table time.
Yep.
And I think one of the things that people neglect to realize is your genetic pedigree.
Yeah.
So they're like, well, how is this, whatever the persona that they have of you. I think a lot of people don't know how strong your dad was and how good of a background you have in strength. So what type of numbers was your dad moving? I know I've seen pictures of it and he's put together.
Sure, yeah. So his lift was bench press. He competed in WNPF. I think he did 496 at 209 body weight, and then like just gym numbers.
And that's raw.
Raw, yeah, of course, raw. Gym numbers, he did 500 pause, 520 pause, and then 540 touch and go.
Right, so for everybody who doesn't know Chance Shaw, there is his ceiling, right around those numbers. When he decides to start training, that's the type of stuff we're probably going to see out of him.
We'll see.
So you got into it from in an expo, and you started training. You mentioned earlier that you don't really have a lot of people out by you that are super into it. So how do you manage to pull it together?
Yeah, so in the past I've trained with Craig Soublier. He's about 30 minutes from me, but we don't get to pull that often. So how I manage training right now is just whoever is willing to spend some time with me and use 2 arms, and I'll just train in whatever angle I can manage to find that they can hold me. So whether that be my friend or my girlfriend or whoever. Yeah, I just haven't used 2 arms.
And so you've been pretty active last couple of years.
Yeah.
What's some notable matches, notable wins?
Well, my most notable win would be my win against Nick Zena. So I was supposed to have a super match that day with Ryan Clark, and he had to cancel the Tuesday before. I had already booked the flight, so I was like, whatever, I'll just show up and hang out. And I saw Nick Zena was in the super heavyweight class, so I was like, all right, let me try my luck and see how I can do. And yeah, I had a really good day that day.
You had a good run in the overalls too, right?
Yep,
A couple other.
I also beat Dan Whittle, Brent Rackers, a few other guys, Ryan Johnston.
So I think there's some people out there that question like what shape Nick was in.
Right.
But and the thing that I usually come back to is these other wins against
Yeah.
some guys that I personally have pulled in Brent Rackers really legitimizes what you did that day.
Right.
So, and obviously anybody who's going to compete, regardless of, none of us are ever 100%.
No.
But when you go through 3 pretty top tier names in one day, I think that's pretty legitimate. Now, what about some of the previous wins? I know you've had some. I know you pulled some other big name guys, especially in the middleweights.
Yeah. So I had a match with Justin Bishop a couple of years ago, right before he pulled Ryan Bowen.
Mm-hmm.
So I lost 2-1, but I got a match on him. I never lost my hand. I felt decent. I just needed a little bit more time.
Right.
I didn't really know that I was pulling Justin Bishop for sure until the week before when his brother said, "Hey, so just so you know, this match is happening at this time." I said, "Oh, okay. I guess I am pulling Justin Bishop." So, yeah, I just drove up and pulled him.
So, and I know I haven't talked to Justin about this, but I kind of wonder how because Justin's, you had a match coming up with Ryan, and I'd be kind of interested to know what his take would be between the 2 matches because he pulled both of you. I know, kind of my takeaway on it, but but that's just from my perspective. So what do you think as far as how you performed against Justin and how Ryan did?
Well, I definitely performed against Justin better than Ryan did. We both lost to him, but Ryan kind of got embarrassed from what I saw. So it's been a while, so I don't know how much everyone's progressed since then, but assuming that we've all progressed equally, based off of my match with Justin, I don't think that Ryan really stands much of a chance.
So I'm not super into the whole Instagram, Facebook scene, and so I miss a lot of this stuff. So can you explain at least to me how this all kind of went down? How he contacted you, or you got
the match with Ryan?
Yeah.
So Ryan has this like supporter group where people pay $5 a month to be part of this group, and he set up this voting system where I think it's like twice a year or something like that. He's gonna fly out to whoever his supporters vote. So he put me on the list, or someone put me on the list. I was the number one voted. I guess people want to see Ryan lose, so here we are. Now we're having a match, February 1st.
Do you know who else was on that list?
Schoolboy was on the list. Vlad the Destroyer was on the list. I don't remember who else. Larry Wheels, I think, was on the list. Yeah, all sorts of names. But I think it was me, Schoolboy, and Vlad were the top 3 options.
So what do you think, and this is kind of vague, but as far as the folks who did vote to see you pull Ryan, what do you think the majority of the motivation was there?
I think they want to see Ryan get crushed, honestly. But I think any of the 3 people that I named would do that. So, I don't know. I think I have the arm wrestlers behind me, not so much the Ryan Bowen fanboys, though.
And then what's the trajectory, right? So this, assuming this goes well, what's the next step?
We'll see how my weight cut goes, but I'd love to pull in the middleweights in the WAL possibly, and then after that in September, the Worlds is in Orlando. I'm definitely competing in that.
Okay, let's talk about the weight cut. Let's talk about like the weight fluctuation. I know just because I know you that you've competed at the world level at 198, but closer to 87. You missed the cut, so you've been as low as down there.
Yeah, my lowest weight was 180. I was trying to cut for 76 and I missed it.
So, back to the Ryan Bowen match. Whether you get to that middleweight range, which like Storm and I talked about it, we think if you can get anywhere near the 230, that you are able to cut to that 205 in a short period of time.
Sure.
So, whether you're in that range for the Ryan Bowen match, how do you see that affecting your performance? Like, do you think that the 220 chance all is any better than the 250 chance all?
I can only imagine that I would be better at a lower weight because it's not going to be as sloppy. Right now I'm 260, but it's sloppy. It's terrible eating, terrible training. A 220, 210 version of myself is going to be clean. I definitely see the lighter version of myself being stronger.
Right, and personally, I feel the same way. Myself, not necessarily lighter, but really it's more about what I'm weighing at and how clean it is.
Right.
So obviously, if you're in that middle weight range, you're going to be pretty clean. Everything's going to be sharp. Pending a win on Ryan Bowen, where do you think that puts you in WAL, and what would you kind of want to say to them about it?
I mean, Ryan has a winning record, right? So against Alan Guerrera, did he pull anyone else?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's it. So I guess I would assume that puts me in the same tier as Ryan with a winning record. Who else has a winning record right now? Like Danny Tesh, maybe? Somewhere around that level. Yeah.
So, as far as the weight cut goes, the WAL season has got a few months away.
Sure.
So how do you feel about getting to that range?
I'm going to get to that range regardless. I think like mid-March, end of March is when I would be walking around 225-ish.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, like Paul was alluding to earlier, you've got a lot of potential in a lot of ways. I mean, we were just at the gym and you were working on some of the hand exercises that you just weren't even familiar with.
Yeah, no.
And then you also seem to have a pretty high cap for just raw strength. What would be your development of those things to Like, what would be how do you prioritize those?
Sure. So, yeah, like in the past, I've never done any sort of handle training, arm wrestling specific gym training, nothing like that. So my numbers are so extremely low on some of these lifts that I can't imagine even with a month of lifting that those numbers won't skyrocket and somehow translate to the table.
Would you say maybe 40%?
Yeah, 47% increase over the next 3 months.
I've heard numbers like that.
Yeah. It seems legit, 47%.
So as far as that goes, what do you think? I know the beauty of where you're at is you're there at like the raw baseline. You know, nothing but a pure arm wrestler who just does table time. A lot of people prioritize table time at the top, and I kind of tend to agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
But you're at the bare bones on all the other stuff.
Yeah.
At what point in time in your career, and what would you need to really spark that motivation to start really going hard in general strength and then arm wrestling specific stuff?
So what would my motivation be? My motivation would be me realizing that I've reached my cap without anything else, and I think that's where I'm at. I think the tier of people that I have to start competing against that are better than the people that I've been beating, it's not going to be possible without more specific training. So yeah, I would say right now I'm in that. Just coming up here and training with you guys gives me an understanding of what I need to do and where I need to be.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for coming. We're all wishing you well. Do you think we'll be able to stream the event?
Yeah, we'll see.
Anything you want to say to Ryan Bowen or any Ryan Bowen supporters?
I just I don't know. I don't have anything to say.
Right. Well, we wish you the best of luck.
Yeah.
Glad to have you up to train.
Thank you.
It's been our pleasure.
Thank you.